Today, I have my special guest, which I love and adore. She is my aunt. She was my seventh grade teacher. And today, my mom was supposed to join us, but she has other obligations. So maybe later on the show, she can pop in and support us on this talk. All right. So, um, speak of my mom, I believe that's her joining us right now. So give me a minute. Mom, there you are.
La mesa la veo duale. Ai, tata. Voilà, o meu é fag.
Eleite la fare fatwa inga.
Tava nem coffee. Coi que é esse lango.
Oh my God.
Mas se for.
This
Elisapeta Fa'aSamoa. Ela mais quem é Samoa, é ver mas tu cai uma. É o eu não é do que ser, foi uma numa. Você não.
Ole show a tofu. Ole reality I show e fale ia ele real Samoan life
Olha vai ver ele vai eu vai cuiqueu. É que era fiola.
Não amate malesu.
O conversar ya lo fale o canaka eu chuto. Ai. Esse era o coialo man pai. E era manguia.
Ya, malo la male le ngalue. Ole pele no ai poile le foi. Leo lo ole tina la to ya me sele ma fo fa wai. O na la mo o le la va take la I ya. Ya le la va fa inga venga e a foi au le ma fe la mo o e au le.
Quem é Viking? Quem é Viking? Ele tem o shark, ele ao ler quem é shark. Ao ler quem é Viking.
Ai na o foi la o fu mu. Na lo fe lo te represent na ya.
Olha o fule. 40th anniversary Bangkok. Đây sẽ xem là cái suite cái phao uống cái computer. Lúc cái này nó mới phone đi ra biển đây. Ya wala ya.
Daddy. Like, you come in yelling. Okay. We're on live. Lo vai men lo lang ya ko kenya Kenya. Let's talk with Miss.
Working. Pa. Esa sa messi mese ko luang yung laptop ole pongsa kun ba ay kanga kaya kya.
Keep recording this. Keep recording this.
Yeah, it's live on Facebook.
Really good for your mom. Yes.
Yeah, somebody. Dia fengka ke pro Colombia la banco. Luego ko. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ano lo ko.
Oh my God, Mom.
Thank you.
See, this is why I am the way I am, because I get scolded no matter how old I am.
Yeah, you got that right.
See, okay, and there's my special guest, Dr. Simanu / mommy / drill sergeant / whatever, the queen of Utumel. All right, so can we start? Our topic today is taking it back to the basics, Fa'aSamoa. And today, my guest is my aunt. I have Elisapeta Alaimaleata. And I'll pass it to her. I think my mom took up most of the time, but I'm going to pass it to her so she can talk on her topic.
Yeah, talofa. I think I'm having delayed connection my electula. Well, late internet au kumea o ikupuila. Your audio is off, Masa.
Okay.
Yeah, ma lo lavan sa for mo malilangi mama. Yeah, ma ma ne for the day tai aoi. O yo lewa yafi o lewa uli ne what dale le lua. Ah, yeah, o tasi fi nani basa.
Oi, walima ke ele kasi.
Yeah.
Walima te ele tasi le leitu
Yeah, tofu, yeah, for Thailand mole invitation. Yeah, I know, your mom and I taught at Matatula Elementary School, and for many years, and that's how we were able to work together and continue serving our community as well as serving our our families. We are so happy to see all of what you're doing right now, Miss Teez. And just seeing the fruits of our labor. Yeah, I with Miss Teez. I will be using bilingual. Is that okay, Tofu? So, ole tala noango le Fa'aSamoa. Yeah. Yeah, ele sa amatalia le nenga wenga ono le no ta inga ile tawati na aino ainga me se foi fa now ono no foi fa atu o Samoa. Yeah. As you all know that just growing up in Alofau and even being in Samoa, I never thought that I'm going to raise my, give birth to children and also raise my children outside of Samoa. I think it's very important for all of us to understand, especially families that are living outside of Samoa, to maintain and also continue to be Samoan. Tofu sent me a question. When I spell Samoa, I never put the word Samoa as a small letter. Anywhere I put Samoa, I always capitalize it. and mainly because there is that philosophical connection to it. I think it's when we think about, community psychology, we are looking at how our approaches and how everything that surrounds us can focus on that one thing, which is in my mind as a community advocate with language and culture and heritage preservation and maintenance. It's very important to put that in the forefront. And being in the forefront is, ensuring that we are, carrying that out through anything. And it also comes down to, when we put it in paper and even in writing, or even when we represent our community. So you had sent me that that list of some of the topics that we can discuss. Why do I always spell the word Fa'aSamoa and always capitalize the S in that word? And I think that's the reason why, Tofu. We were always in the back burner of anything in society, even living here in Hawaii. I think English is always the medium of instructions, and it's been told that it's the language of survival. But I can say, as an advocate of Gagana Samoa and the Samoan culture, we can also be the language of survival within our own community. Yeah, mo foi faso atu leo so ya vasa awa o ia foi o se tangata le tofa e telefoi ona manatu le lei fatina me se foi fata ita I te tono le atinu ma le tanisia. Ia ole ngaluenga la o ngalue nei Hawaii. Sa amatalia le luafe ma le valu. Ia ole te mitonu lava na ia olo la iti lava la ufanau. Ia e tele o teimi a vela ufanau ile lotu. Ia ole a onga susa o ina le so tainga le o awa onga ma le a onga le ngangana ma le anga nu. I te tono le kalesia. Ia pe whaonga luenga le o televou. So the churches mentioned in research and even the academic world are urban villages for the Samoan community of island. Yeah, I'm going to give the time over to Ms. Teez to, say the questions, and even, le tato discussion in me umalava ole tato talanuanga. I think what I had shared is just a short overview of Lefetuao Samoan Language Center and the work that we do here in Hawaii. We've been in existence since 2008. We are currently a service provider by the Hawaii Department of Education as, Samoan language and culture education program in DOE. And we also provide community-based outreach to our church organizations, the faith-based organizations here in Hawaii, and also some of the organizations Samoa Lo'inei Hawaii. Yeah, na osina fa'atata tuna le nei tautua lo whaia nei I le motutele o kinka mea mea.
Well, thank you so much for going over that. I think that program is a very good program. So on Let's Talk with Ms. Teez is basically empowerment, not discouragement. And that's my model behind the show. And when I saw my aunt when she won in 2021, this year, you won that award. Kudos to you. Congratulations. I was like very proud of you. So I started watching the video, which I started that video in the beginning of the show. So many of you can can kind of get a taste of what we're going to be talking about. So taking it back to the basic, a lot of us, I feel like we're losing our culture. So who best to bring in than my aunt and my mom to talk about some things that are different in generations of how things used to be to now. And her program, I feel like many of us having, especially me being married outside the race, I feel my kids should get in touch with their Samoan side and introduce them to your program. And maybe there's people out there and in mainland New Zealand, all over the world, that could that's never heard of your program, that this is the time that they need to look into it and maybe join in and empower their kids to know their Samoan side. It's so hard when you go to a store, like especially in Hawaii. We went recently in Hawaii. You see someone that says a shirt straight from Samoa, and you talk to them in Samoan, they answer to you in English. So I'm like, okay. And the response is, well, I grew up here. I'm Samoan, but I don't speak the language. I understand it, but I don't speak it. So it's kind of discouraging, and is disappointing. Why? Because you have that program in Hawaii, and why are our own people not supporting, and why are they not joining in on the program? So that's why it's, and plus May is Asian Pacific Islander month to us. So it just kind of works all together, right? So what is when you started this program, um, what got you to, what empowered you, or what started you to like, hey, I think this is gonna work out for here in Hawaii and across the world? What made you start it?
Well, I started it because of my own children.
Mhm.
And 10 years of my profession, I worked as a graduate assistant first, and then hired as a full-time junior specialist for the College of Education at the University of Hawaii. Part of my job in that position at the University of Hawaii was to, um, assist some of the Hawaiian language and cultural, um, implementations in the community here in Hawaii. So I was tasked to travel to outer islands, like in, islands like Lanai, Hilo, and several places here in Hawaii, working side by side with Hawaiian principals and administrators and community leaders to try and help the Hawaiian community to, with language revitalization and maintenance within the community. So it's right during that time, um, I believe 1999. You see, 1999 is when I was hired by the University of Hawaii to do that work. So through my journey working with the Hawaiians, um, to focus on language preservation and maintenance within the community, I thought about my own children. I just got twin boys in 1998. So they were babies. Right now they're 22. Um, you know, as I was walking in one of the charter schools in Hilo, uh, mind you, in Hawaii, they do have a lot of Hawaiian charter schools. When you talk about charter schools, they do have their own, funding the from the government in order to develop some of their programs. They develop their own curriculum. They don't follow what like the regular Department of Education, but they have their own approaches. So a lot of the charter schools that I was assigned to, all the curriculum is written in Hawaiian. So when I was tasked to do training out in Hilo, I was walking in one of the charter schools where it's more like a Hawaiian immersion school. As I entered the campus, walking in to find the library, I can hear math in Hawaiian. I can hear science, everything, instruction, everything in Hawaiian. So a lot of the things that they were doing in the school was in Hawaiian language. And even science, the approaches that they used was more like, the native Hawaiian knowledge. They incorporate all of that so that they are able to help the children. So when I heard that, even the students that are starting to speak, from the younger age up, they were using Hawaiian language. I thought about our own people. I thought about my own children, and like I said, I just gave birth to my twin boys at the time. I said, oh my goodness, I'm helping the Hawaiian community with literacy, with all these approaches, teaching approaches. And I'm a product of American Samoa Department of Education, Fa'aSamoa right here. She was my friend. And, we worked in DOE, a lot of the methods and strategies and thinking mentality and all of that. It came about because of our training in DOE back home. So as I was sharing some of those things with some of my experience and background knowledge with the Hawaiian community, I left that charter school with the mindset, I'm going to start a project. I'm going to start a program. And that's how Lefetuau came about. Why Lefetuau? Why named it Lefetuau? Well, Lefetuau is the name of my mother. And she actually told me after graduation from Pine, said, oh, you're going to be a teacher. The only job available, at ASG at that time was teaching. And I said, oh, I would never be a teacher. I've seen how you worked. You would plan and correcting papers all the way till midnight. So it was just my thought as just a new teenager out of high school, and never had that mindset of thinking, what am I going to do in the future? Anyways, I ended up being a teacher. And even the name Fetuau is very important in our own language. Mm-hmm. It's more like looking at the bright stars, and I was thinking the knowledge and everything that we do and what our mission and vision as a Samoan language center. That word can also represent or give out the message of how important it is. So yes, so we started that in 2008, and then still right now, we're doing so much at this time.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yes.
Mom, you want to add something? Well, Mom, your turn. You got to unmute yourself. She's probably scolding somebody. Probably Nessa. There she is.
Yeah, well, just a second. Just give me 1 second.
See, like I can't keep her like sit in one spot. Like this is how our Zoom goes when we have family Zoom. This is how it goes. Like she talks and then she's on the phone, and then she's doing flowers. So for those of you on island, I might as well advertise her shop, right? So if you're in American Samoa and you need floral arrangements for your church, because every Sunday, we need floral to clean for our church. Yeah, back to you, Mom. I was advertising your business.
Okay. What's the question? Thank you very much for that small commercial.
So what is your take on the program? What is your take on the program?
Okay. Well, first, I would like to thank you, Peta. I never thought you would get into this Samoan study for Samoan, but I give you a lot of credit, as your colleague in the education field. We've always speak English to our students. Well, but I thank you very much, Sissy, for getting this program and getting to help our Samoan students who are out there who are so willing to speak Samoan and get into the Fa'aSamoa. Of course, Fa'aSamoa is a in my terms is too general because keleo mea fia. Well, and when I was going for my master's degree at UH, she said to me, I received a letter from the DOE that my assignment after graduating from my master is to be a principal of Lauli. And she said to me, o le au penga pito silinta huela unga luenga whawhaya onga maripulea onga. Ie e loa tautala ili ngangana Samoa. O le au penga nga, o le aso wa ka mai o ako inga strategy ese whai nga luenga. A ele loa wha Samoa, e te le malamalama li ngangana, e a wako ele se au I mātua, o le mālo, makamaiki. Mo ka mai mau o whai mai mau alo taimi. But o le Fa'aSamoa malau ngangana, o le au penga pito silia ngang kaua. So se ngā luenga, ia me se ngā luenga whawhaya onga. So from then on, I did my best and thank God for my father, who's my mentor and advocate of the Samoan study here at home. Yeah, okay, mi umalawa. Ia ke fesilia sio kama fai mai sa u launga foi le Fa'aSamoa a le ase fa lupenga me fa pena tau tala I tongo le nu so o le au awina la le ngana Samoa ma le anga nu ko ai lo loto ke sa fai como sa fa inga le nu o la uli e abakwele fe au ile pule anga fa pulenga fa le nu e pui pui ma leo leo ai le lotoa o le a onga. At the same time, e mau ai la ngona mama natu wa ngai nganga o loai, e le nga o le a o ina o le ngana peretania ma whapalani. Par ia o le anga nu Fa'aSamoa. So it was a different mentality when I became a teacher, teaching the Samoan studies, Samoan culture. So it wasn't a content area at the time. I don't know if Beta can correct me. It's more likely math, English was science, social, were the content area. Then slowly the Samoan culture became a content. But at the same time, shift ngana Samoa. So because of my upbringing in Apia, sa o learning nga ilo wa onga mai Apia, a makamele prima 1, say yo ale standard 2. That one of my teacher, yeah, Fa'aSamoa shotina au mua. For my aele loa Fa'aSamoa, etele longang. Wala ala poko fa ya ongang, ale lo Fa'aSamoa, ekele loangang. So it was more likely at that time for your onga. Fa'aSamoa interpret Fa'apalangi, Fa'apalangi interpret Fa'aSamoa, and it was all mental kind of education. Yeah, ngai nganga kakau poko mai singa ka fasingang. Ka ke sawa ngai kukuila. E uia ko kikia kasi ka mikia uri va ai o polu. Ai sa kukuila sole. Kwa pa ori. Ai le lo ngai ka be kukuila ko kikia uri va ai o. Ngai ngala na o lo ai. Oh, kwa sa o le na tala. So I used that strategy. Au pia ya onga. More likely, I was a spoiled brat. Lo umay mako ovayangay au simango mako wala ikufi opangakay mi. I'm a brat. If I umame au ngaka ay mga o sa ka dictate maya me au nga ay ka ho fa ka skusi. So le ngay o lo nga. Oh. No, you have to fangaling nga Samoa. Interpret Fa'apalangi, interpret Samoa. So when I became a teacher, or the Samoan culture, I basically taught the language. So nga makala kalama. Veape, soa veape, sui veape, yo me uma nga o ye pia. Ya, before ang Samoa, saulanga nge. Whapena foi le ang Samoa ngai whi nga foi vai kemi once upon a time ago. Lela wa o loai, o le lelei o le awa o le ngana. And of course it's part of culture. O isi ang nuu. Yeah, if they folk, but let me stay with the language. Because of the language, which this is something of so my upbringing to my education field, teaching, and then now, for the new generation, and I asked that question. Waka mai whaiaonga. Ata mai matua, le leila ngangu le Fa'aSamoa, but the younger parents, wale kau le Fa'aSamoa la tu whanau, ngangu wale e jale ngaka leo tofu, e jala e makua le nge, e ngofa nge, a eva ai e whenga ngui umangi kamai ke o mai. So just imagine as they grow up, leila wa yeile high school level le wa temi ne, geleng whenga ngui, and le yola e au po le mea, o le fia pala langi, se kulou, mātua mai o lo whalongolongo mai. Pe paua. But without them knowing, because of that wa whapalangi, wa solai ma le anganula lea Fa'aSamoa o le a mio pulea. O le se a mio pulea. It's all, o kau le loa kameki kulou, kau le loa whaamole mole, o le kau le loa whawhetai, o le loa foi kameki le lako wā me mātutua. Se wangara age le o makua le kako. Le sa kako le whai ngawa I kemi e isi. I get, well, as we grow older, we kind of see it. But now, sui whangau. Mera ngā le pe, le culture ngā le, wa u paai ko ngei sa kukui ngei. We le sulonga suinga. Wa kale loa por fia Fa'aSamoa, fia paalangi o kameki. But mind you, it is different. E ka making a onga ya kia uia lofau, o ka make a whakasi, o lako mātua, ka mā, pālangi, po tina, pālangi. I someone study. Now, why is that? It's not just the language, but it's also the culture. Hi, I'll be right with you. So, anyhow, as I say, the Fa'aSamoa is such a broad topic, but it all depends on how the perspective of how parents nowadays put it. And then there comes something else that I foresee, oleanga I whanua. So if we kept saying about Fa'aSamoa, oleala leanga I whanua. So anyhow, if I've ka ko Samoa maintain le afo le puleanga nga Fa'aSamoa. But I'll get back to you guys, and then I'll come back and say, come on, let me get it to a customer, and I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, I like to say that what Vasa shared is very important, and I want to mention that ele fuatasi se atunu. E tupu fo'i so se atunu lava me whapea. O le aoina o le ngangana ma le anu. O se ngaluenga o se aute lenga. E uma tangata uma. E whalana e ta ua whapea e le o sapaia le polo kalama le ftuao e isi o tangata I nei Hawaii. Ia o te a fo ia te au. E le o focus ia le implementation I mea whapena ona e mawhai lava le tamaiti I le tangata to tasi le te titina ona spread like fire. What I'm saying is we have to be like-minded people that are working in this work. just like Mama Aumua, Tina Aumua, she was my greatest mentor in Ningaringa ni Hawaii. We truly miss her. And I feel that the work that she had done way before us really set the foundation of many of us right now. Anything that we do here with Samoan language education and cultural preservation, I always think of her and I thank her. And I think that's what we all need to do as a Samoan community. So tele lava ia matua e meise fo I ainga. O lo maua le so tainga lea pe a whaia matou polo kalama. Yeah, first kicked off our program in 2008. It was an article that was published by Star Advertiser here in Hawaii. And it was written by one of Mufi Hanneman's relative. When that article came out that Lefetuau is opening a Samoan language program here in the state of Hawaii, it was our first day during fall intercession. It was around October. This Department of Education here in Hawaii would have their schedule, and October is the month for fall intercession. So during the fall break, families don't know what to do with their children. And, a lot of them, in the research community, we call those kids latchkey kids. When we say latchkey, they would go home with, those lanyards, and they are the ones at home by themselves. And the TV is more like their babysitter.
Yes.
Or someone, that is there, them. They would be lucky there, but it's because of after school approaches. So what I'm sharing is, Samoa, or after school na tato Samoa, yes, so yeah. I grew up in the village where I look forward after school, because when school is done at Alufau, walk over house and then do all our chores, pick up the trash around the yard, and then we have to hear the pake. Cannot wait to hear the pake. I actually have one. So you always listen for the pake.
Yes.
So the pake was like, it's our bell. We cannot wait to go to the minister's house. And that was our after school. And we would stay at the minister's house till like 6. If I looked with Yafi, we would have a evening prayer with the with the minister if we had to do reading. There are times that the minister would release us to go home and do the lotu of Yafi with our own families. Then we have to go back to the minister's house and spend like 45 minutes reading the Bible, learning to read the Bible and so forth. So it's really fun. We were occupied by activities that we love. And I enjoy that life. So the approach that we have here in Hawaii, the after school programs, we would offer these many events. And one of those events that DOE is incorporating is language. And we're so happy that Lefetuau is now implementing some of after school language and cultural classes. During the summer, we'll be offering more of the, everything is done virtual. And one of the classes that we're looking forward to is Fa'aSamoa. Anyone who wants to learn how to speak short Samoan speech, learn what to say in front of people, they can join that class, and that will be taught by Kiso Skelton, one of our students. He's graduated from Chaminade with his master's degree. So we are utilizing some of the great use of Samoa. There's not that many of us that are doing this work, and it's really sad. We pray that our current administration, with the, with American Samoa government would put in more funding or more focus on, boosting the approach of teaching the language, and also encourage the culture education in the villages. Just like what Vasai is saying, wasola lewa fatafata. Wale oto yai temi nei te lo temi. And one of the contributions that is from social media. You notice how the youth would speak, would post on social media. It's very, it's against some of the things that we are trying to teach to Pulanga, our youth of Samoa. Our implementation is not just about language and culture. It's more about valuing education as well in general. A lot of our parents that are bringing their kids to school to Samoa are very, those parents are families that values education. The ones that are doing so well here in the state of Hawaii. We get a lot of the grandkids from some of our former leaders, like Lutali family, and even some of the, government leaders in American Samoa, like the Lutu and everybody. And it's so good to see them coming, coming to Lefetuao, bringing their kids. But the bulk of, the population that we really want to reach are the ones that I'm encouraging this implementation to be done. And that's why we're reaching out to the churches. We want the church to be, working side by side. We need to work side by side with our churches, church communities. Yeah, so if I got, if I go feeling got wenga, well, it's a telephone tamato. If you fire ngal wenga, o te loa e fia ngalulue lato. Ai ona ele o lava fo ile le tomai, ele o lava fo ile le malama lama. Ini awala ma mga luenga te tawana ona pongi ma mai loa. Awale le whaolaola pele tato ngana malanga nu. Ai tele lava me tutia ma wala I Samoa na whaiana o na whaiai. Yeah, like they say, based on some of the researchers, the research under language, when one person speaks the native language in the household, the children will eventually pick up the language. So for example, Tofu and Clark is not Samoan and Tofu is Samoan. So in the household, Tofu will be the one that will speak Samoan to the children all the time. Clark will represent the English language. So if you continue that consistently, eventually the children will pick up the language and they'll be able to speak. And that is one of the research, the researches that was published here in the state of Hawaii, and it was done within the Hawaiian community. We're noticing a lot of places. You notice with everything here in Hawaii, they put Hawaiian language in the forefront. So we should have that mentality as a Samoan community. We should do the same thing back home as well. Ia awangi I dominate ilinga ngana whapirtania, ilinga ngana Fa'aSamoa. Ona o tātou e ta ua o Amerika Samoa, o linga ngana Amerika Samoa, o linga ngana Samoa. E te tau langa dominate mea umalawa tātou e whai, ilinga ngana tātou atunu. O inai mo whai e tātou na whaolaola, me whai e tātou ona ia awane ilo fia tātou mai ngana mga nu ese. Awa o tātou lema o Amerika Samoa ia o langa ngana o linga ngana Samoa. Ila se ngana ingilisi. And we can also say that, we look at China, even the Asian cultures and communities. China is one of the top nations in the world that with academic. Do they use English to teach in China, to teach technology? Do they use English to in education in China? No, they use their own language, but they are the top, country when it comes to academic performances. So I have to say that, e lunga lavo tātou tangata, ai o te loa o le tāua i o le ngaruenga, o le ngangana, o le tofi mai le ali, o le tofi o tātou tangata anu. Ia aua whai nā, ia aua ni o tātou tua, i tali tuali maina, e o ia upu. Ina ia tau whai tātou e whātāua, whamalosi o tātou tangata ina aoi. A lot of language researchers at the University of Hawaii and some of us that are working together, they did mention that the Samoan language is moving towards extinction. We may not see it, but we are moving towards that. And it's very, very important for all of us to think about it. A umatu nei lea ngā tupulanga le e tangata matutua. Le ia ia uma, Monsieur Usovasa. Ia e o tatele mana awa ve umolotola. But I have to say, you think about it. The next generation is going to be my children. But the question is, did they really absorb the language and the Samoan culture in my family in order to instill within their minds that they are not allowed to sell my land, sell the land of the family. So it's instilled in their mind that they are not allowed to, give up all the artifacts of Samoan and, don't even care about it. I don't think my children are prepared enough. I have to say that we have to be ready. We really need to focus on that. And that's why I advocate and talk about the importance of bringing Samoa into the forefront, even in our own government, even in other places, even in other, even in Washington, D.C., we were in the back burner. I have to say, it's time for us to come forward. So, when you mentioned about the Asia Pacific Island Heritage Month, coming up will be the Samoan Language Week for New Zealand, and it's celebrated in New Zealand, Australia, Polo, Masavai, the Samoan Language Week. Samoan Language Week should be every week for all of us, but it's really nice to have a special week. But how did they come up with that week? Guess what? They used the first week of Independence Day of Samoa to be the week. What would be the Samoan Language Week for American Samoa? As a Samoan language advocate and also pushing for education, I think our Samoan Language Week should be done during the week o le tatou fu. Le asa lena whai le fu a America Samoa. I America Samoa, e tau na whai e celebrate le nā vai asu. Pewhen whata ua e tangata o lo na nofo New Zealand, ia ma Australia le Samoan Language Week. I le aso na tuto tasi ai Samoa. Ia o Samoa na, ia o tātou le nei Hawaii. Ia o tātou lalo le jurisdiction na America. Ia te avoi la whata i ta i ne ngaluenga. Ia tawala na whai se tātou Samoan Language Week. Ia whai la wale vai aso na sisi ele fu fo ia America I oi tutuila. Lono winga tau na whai le vai aso le whai le fu. Ia e ngalu foi la mātou nei Hawaii ma America. Ia whatau ai foi la le Samoan Language Week I le tausanga le la sau nei pe whape e pulelo whale le tuai o tuai leo la man malosi. But we also celebrate with the Samoan language week in New Zealand and Australia. Majority of the people that are living there originates from Upolu and Hawaii. So they're really strong. One of the things that we did with Lefetuao, we took all our teachers, our Samoan language teachers, to be trained in New Zealand. And I was able to connect with some of the schools there, because when you enter New Zealand public schools, you are required to take Maori, which is the language of New Zealand. So you take Maori and you also have electives. You get to choose any Pacific Island language that you want to take. So Tongan, you can choose, the language of Tuvalu or Samoan. Yeah, so they have over 80, a lot of Samoan language programs in New Zealand. Yeah, Tatola in Hawaii. We only have several high schools which program and Samoan language and culture program. And we are the only community-based school serving the Waipahu area. So my goal is to try and develop more programs within the state of Hawaii, so it reaches a lot of our student population in those areas. For example, like Waianae. I know Waianae High School wanted a program, but the difficult part with us, we don't have enough teachers at this time. So it's a community effort that I really want to reach out to the churches, to help assist us. But we love the work and we enjoy it a lot. And we hope that American Samoa also, yeah, I'm hearing that we have the ASEA summer programs in Gagana Samoa, Elisapeta America Samoa, ya tele, yo polo kalamana na matesi tinale ya salu, ya malawai ngatio I, ya itaua lavanga wenga I aurotu me kalesia. So I can talk about the grant, the ANA grant, proposal coming up, because that's how Lefetuao got funding in 2013 to 2015. 3 years. Sa Fayaile Mato Polo Kalama, yeah. That was one organization in the federal government that we applied to, and we received the funding to help us develop Fa'aSamoa here in Hawaii. And another goal was to start writing a curriculum for Gagana Samoa to help teachers. So we consolidated all the lesson plans, all the songs, all the solo, yeah, a lot of good stuff that teachers really need. And the third one was looking at teacher certification. The third goal was completed because we were able to develop teachers for Gagana Samoa. But what we need right now, which I hope someone like Basa and maybe someone in American Samoa who can work with us or establish a teacher certification or Gagana Samoa. A community teacher that cannot attend a college institution or attend a university can be a Samoan language teacher. Fa'aSamoa. I train atulai itato. I me totia whaawhaia onga I e lofo I ia na whaia onga I whanau ia I ta me tilinga mana. Ma whaia na certify itato. You don't need a college degree in order to become a Samoan language teacher, but you still need to have that background training. And that's exactly what we need as a community. A certification process where our teachers or community teachers can have an incentive for a certificate in Samoan language. So I started working to advocate through the College of Education here in Hawaii at UH Manoa. Unfortunately, they said they don't have the funding, but we hope that someday we will have that funding. Because right now, all the Hawaiian language teachers, all the Hawaiian language programs, they do have, all the teachers needs to be certified. So they have that Hawaiian language certification at UH Manoa. So my plea to the Dean of the College of Ed is, why can't we replicate that? Replicate the approach of the Hawaiian language to certify our Samoan language teachers. Mana yana yana so sanfe tato. Be to any staff official, so staff up there. Oh, I'm certified to teach Samoan language. We really need that. Yeah.
Those are some great information. So I'll speak on behalf of the English speaking viewers. And so this is the part where I go to Facebook and look at the comments and just kind of see if anybody has any questions for you guys or has any, they just want to show love, and we'll go from there. So Bua Posima, which is our huge sponsor, and she's a business owner in Hawaii. So I'll share the information that you gave me for grants and stuff like that with her. But she says, aloha, beautiful ladies. And then we have Gloria. She says, talofa from Georgia. And she said, Auntie Tofu and Nana Amarilla say hi. And Auntie Becca. And then Barbara says, learned so much from Vasa, my principal. So, oh, that's so crazy. So Barbara, I met Barbara on my show when Gloria was my guest, when we talked about postpartum depression. And I just met her now. It's the connection. So yes, she says she learned so much from you, Mom, when you're a principal. And then my girl, Rachel, so true, from Amauli. And then Gloria said, others are watching with you. Oh, thank you. Oh, Lita says, cute pake. She loves the pake, Auntie. And then my aunt Leano says, hello. And she says, hi, Vasa. And then Barbara said, those are some beautiful flowers. Yes, my mom owns a floral shop in Utumea East. All your gilfalsa, all your church decor, please check her out. Oliver says, talofa just touched down in Georgia. Malo le Fa'aSamoa. Talofa mom, talofa Auntie Becca. That's from Olive. Susanna sends her love. Olita says, faftai ma le Fa'aSamoa. And William Clark says, talofa. And Barbara says, lauli'i principal. So those are the love. So if you're watching the show, at the end of the show, we're drawing names of all the viewers. So if you're watching the show and you haven't put a comment, just put like a heart in the comment so we can see who's watching, and then we'll enter your name into the drawing at the end. My Aunt Becca is going to give away my Aunt Aumua's Samoan book, and on this show. So please, please, please show love on here, so in that way you can win this. It's all part of learning our language and continuing to empower others to don't forget where we come from, and don't forget our language. So Kaleopa, hello, Kaleopa, welcome, welcome. That's another student, my mom's student on here. Well, my student. La, kailo ayaw late for Samoa, Kaleopa, ali Kaleopa, ayaw late for Samoa.
Yes.
She said hello. Tofu Auntie Likia's here. She says hello.
Oh, and hi, Auntie. Yeah, hello, my
hi. She was listening in.
Yeah, so I do this on Saturday. It's my Samoan show, Auntie. So if you ever want to be a guest on my show, I can book you. We can talk about living life in Samoa after America.
It's no time.
Oh, Lord. Nobody got time for me. But thank you for coming on to support. Love you, Auntie.
Hi.
So, Beati and the Sangyao clan, if you're watching, your mom's on my show. I love you. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, so can show the you know, tina au mua
Yes.
Simanu. It's one of the you know, the top resources that we use in college.
Mom, mute lo camera.
You can mute her.
I have to request to mute. Mute lo camera, Mom. Yeah, funny, Kelly.
So just getting back to the Simanu book that I'm giving out.
Yes.
It's a gift. I think the more we have this type of conversation, we can you know, we can have people listen in and, you know, help promote a lot of our Samoan authors. Yeah. O te whamatala tua ia te auto, o le isi lea ngā luenga I tawana whai e tātou. A tātou ngā lulue le ngana Samoa ma le anganu I ngā luenga o manei. E tawhena tu umai luma o tātou tangata sa tustusia ngā luenga Samoa. You can see that with our Samoan language and the history of Samoan people back in the days, it was all written by foreigners. E taule ai tangata Samoa sa tustusia. Ia e tātou te mawai foi, o le ngā luenga nā sa whai foi I mātou. Ta mawhai nei whamaupopo ia Samoan authors and even people that had written a lot of our work back in the days. O le tusi lana Simanu li. O le isi le tusi tā ua tele. Tele ia le ongo ngā o te o afo I tele o le tā ua o male anoa foi. O le tau mai le tinaya a mua mesi foi le afoi. The contribution na siona tuangane, which is your grandfather Tofu and Vasa's father. You know, they did such a wonderful job bringing all of that together to help the future generation of Samoa. Ia o le tusi na Simanu li le la avatu e wha mea lo fatuai. O ai lava wha longo mai ia o ia Samoa te taona o na tuu iau au tawhai au ngai lo wa inga. You know, e whai tau foi ma tatala noa ai whanau. And I had several books too, so even this one, To Fa'aSamoa. These are some of the resources that we received. And I'm going to share a quote from this book, and it's written by Tofa'aono Tanwasa Tabali. We see ana tusi pe ole To Fa'aSamoa, ole fue lave. Yeah, maisi lava foi tusi sa tusi a foi le tina o mo maisi o tatou authors. Ina ua whaile mātou polo kalama o le ngan Samoa Ilesi Samoa. The focus was Samoan literature. You know, we had elementary, middle, and high school students attending that class. So we had about 20 kids. When we asked the question, name a Samoan author you know, okay, none of them knew who they were. A lot of them don't even know there's an existence of Samoan authors. Why? The question is, because they don't even learn that in public school. And I think that's one of the most important things that we need to do in our own education system back home. Yeah, yaise space, yaise ta wamale le whamapopoina o tato tusitala. Fofosu Nia is one of the best Samoan authors, and even Tuiatua, Tupua Tamasese. These are names of people that we really want our children to know, because it's you know, Aumua Simanu. It'll be lost in the future. It's very important for all of us Samoan language teachers and even educators and even people in our community to understand the future is all in writing. The future will always be in written content. Okay, so you know, it's very important for us. I can share that one case here in Hawaii. It was about ole itoonga sao mai lale ai wa wala au mai atea. Mole lava e sau tusi e whamatala mai e le tā ua male au ngāle i tonga. Ona lule, lewa avele a inga nei o kipi mako i ko. Well, I don't know if I should share that with you here, but I can tell you, I'm just sharing the importance of written knowledge and even historical importance of artifacts and things that belongs to our people. The court, if you go in the court system, the judge will always ask, oh, can you give me something in writing to show the value of this, to your family? So when they contacted the Fa'aSamoa around that time, I had to mention to them that I'm in no position to be an expert on this, but I can give you the written information. But the reason why I'm sharing that is it's just an example, and also to inform our listeners and people that are in touch with us at this time that putting things in writing is another professional level that we have to advocate for in this work. A lot of the families have their own histories, have their own stories. And we notice that as they leave, new people come into the family and they do their own storytelling and their own, ele mawhai ona suia. Ele mawhai e tātou na suia tala ango ainga. Ia, ai o lo whasona e whai loa toile tā o tustu singa ana ia tātou tusi tala. E tau la wana whata ua i tutono le au ino le ngana ma le nganu o Samoa. Ia ole isina ngā luenga o lo whai e mātou nei i le mātou polo kalama al fitu wau.
Thank you so much for sharing. That was very nice and very informational for the people, for the viewer. If you're watching and you found this very useful, please share this video. I'll post it on Facebook. I'll also post it on YouTube so you can watch it if you missed the show. But these are some great information. So if you're just joining us, welcome Julie, welcome Peteru to the show. These are I got two amazing people that can touch on this. And I like that when me and you were talking, prepping for my show, I asked you the question, not only the Fa'aSamoa and how the spelling of it, but I also asked like the difference, like nowadays the word, ethnicity, Palangi is, Palangi, and then Meuli, we use Meuli, and if you translate that in English, is not so good. It's like
more derogative.
Yes, it's more derogative. Now, I try to empower people to use the word tangatauli or tamauli or teneuli, and that way it can identify a person versus a thing, and I love your explanation. Can you share that with the viewers so that way they can be educated on where I'm coming from?
Yes, actually, Ole Temine, I think the journey with language too goes with the timeline. Yeah, Bevela Temine o Vaitemi sa hanga lavale upole neuli. Yeah, o Temi fo nei sa tato baba ita to baba ai fo ile al manga o fesota inga o tangata e ala le ngana. O le whaongaina na o le upu meuli o isi nei o upu o le tui whaongaina i tātou. Ia e whaonga lava la ia upu whaaloalo. Pela o le upu le whaonga le tangata uli. Ia ono tu la fono foi te tono le malo Amerika. Ia me se foi le lalolangi o lo whaatawa i tangata o lo you know, olo yai mana o ngā, you know, na whakata o ngā disability, yeah, o tangata e tawana whaonga e whaitete i tātou I upu e whaonga ina e whaomatala ai ia mai o nei tangata o loo ia disabilities, ia ia te au ia I loo malamaanga ia e mana o mia whai tātou ona tātou tangata I le whaonga ina o le ngana. E pe whina ona saunua le uso ia wasa. Ia o te minei o le ia ave lava le whiau o le whiau I le ngana whaano alo. Pe a watu se message I tangata ia ave lava le ngana whaano alo. E pe lalfa whaanga ina le upuna o le tangata uli. That's more an appropriate, you know, word that we should use to, you know, identify someone that is Black American. The civil rights movement was a movement that happened recently before, you know, right after the civil rights movement at Gagana Samoa by Mau was, you know, Faisina live right before Martin Luther King. Ka wala na tātou mita o tangata Samoa, I tangata ia na mua lava na whatāua le aia tau o tangata Samoa. O Martin Luther King ia o luma mai, ia a o tua atu. Ia o tātou tangata anu, usa whaia ngā wenga na ia vai teimi o lewa. Ia ole tāua foi nā vai teimi. Ole whatāua ia empower ia o nai o tangata anu. Ia o mau ia tātou whanua malau ele me sea ia tatau o tangata Samoa. Awa ana whape mamulu nā vai teimi. Ia wale whana le tatau o tātou Samoa. Ia whaftai foi o tātou tua sa whinau. Sa whinau tangata. Ina ia whaataua pēr le tātou waia tatau. Ia ai o peo wan manga nā, o time frames nā tātou sa iai. Le lai foi teimi nei wa ese foi approaches ia mo me to tia o whaangai ne vai teimi. E whaaleo atu ai le whiau I le ngana Samoa. Ia. O la o tali atu nā. Nā leo te ale tonu. Ia
Thank you.
Paso atu le polo kalama le tala noanga le ANA. Wai tau lawe tātou ona wawai ni awala ina I sasani o tātou tangata. I awala lea ina ia mo mai sip sasani I le malo ia ma iau na ia tātou tangata ia whai tātou ngā wenga Fa'aSamoa.
Yeah. And I will post all the informations about the grants that she's speaking of on my Let's Talk with Miss Teez page. So you can check it out on your own time. If you feel that the grant is something that'll benefit you and your church and your community, feel free to apply. And then I'll post some of the information that she's giving out on this show on my page. So I know she has an appointment to go to. You're welcome to go. But before you leave, let me see if your sister wants to add something on to what you were saying.
Yeah, Marola Vale. Fa'aSamoa after for lo now for lo falong Mike. I didn't want to take up the time. I know this is focused on your program and what you have access and for us to flourish our and of course, on behalf of those, this is a very broad topic, and I could just go on. And what I see, Samoa then and Samoa now, that is a different culture. It's a mixed culture now. So You know, when I was in high school, in our Samoan study, tulona ia ai, tulona le fionga, me umanga, tulona, ale no le pule a onga, mo fusika le ama nga au mua na o ina ele ma fa ala lalo ma ia le vale o te puile a tunu ma le anga i nuone a sta ingilisi la SAT o le ingilisi la ngai Amerika ia mai singa dua mo fai aku ma ka artificial Aila ata sia ainga mesa e na sa ba of no no foi ya se me fa pena ia no mai fole eu si no fa singa topic fa pena I didn't want to take up the time here, and I will do this grad and promote the program.
Yes.
Very important.
Well, thank you for joining me, Mom. I know your schedule is super busy. I know both of your schedule are super busy on Saturdays, but I figured, because I tell my people I'm surrounded by strong people, and I empower them to surround themselves with strong people. So everybody on my Facebook are all my support team, my village that helped raise me. If usually we're here on the beginning of the show, she started yelling at me in the beginning of the show. So you might want to go back and watch that because that was some good entertainment. But yes, that's my mother, that's my aunt, and these are strong, intelligent ladies. And to be my teacher, she used to be my teacher for 8th grade. My mother used to be my teacher for 8th grade. So whoever's watching that was in the same class as me, class of 93 in Tatula Elementary, this is our teacher. Yep. She will slap me across the face in the middle of class. But
I actually taught all of you. Oliver and even Safa was one of my students. Very bright kids.
So out of the three, who was the best student out of the three of us?
I cannot say who's the best because you guys are always the top students. Yeah. But don't forget, remember to connect next week, Tuesday. We will be having that information session for all our Samoan communities. We are not getting enough proposals or applications from American Samoa territory, not getting enough applications from organizations in Samoa. So that's why we are asking our community to try. I applied 3 times. I got denied, but I never gave up.
Yes.
So,
never give up.
Try your best and don't be discouraged. All of this work is, it takes time. But, the thrive is within you. Lo fatu malo loto o Samoa malo mafofau. Yeah, tampai petato. Ya wai wale to yain tangata temi nei e whai nenga winga. Ya le tampai to tato e paulola ya tato me to tino me umalawa ta ua mo Samoa. Yeah,
Okay.
If anyone needs help, a lot of our classes right now are virtual because we're not doing it face to face. you know, you guys are welcome to connect with us. We're on break right now, and we'll be starting classes June 1st. Yeah, mataile matoa on Samoa online soon.
Nice. All right. So before you leave, let's pull a name so we can know who the book's gonna go to. Yeah, say
so
pull
cool.
out.
And afterwards, I'm going to share a proverb from this book.
Yes, that'll be a perfect closing.
Maybe the next show talking about Samoa, the Fa'aSamoa, as you have as one of your topics. We can, you know, get this other book to a person that is connecting.
Yep.
But I have a proverb I want to share after.
All right, yeah, say whaika ko sei, say whaika ko sei po ai maro e kusi mua. All right, so before we close, the people I miss, my cousin Marsha Fuata is joining us. She said, Talofa ladies, mangaya topic. Thanks. And Beteru is watching. My cousin Julie from Onuhu. She said, aloha, beautiful ladies. And my classmate Julia Roberts from Samoana. So welcome, ladies. Yes, go Sharky. Happy 75th to my school. I meant to send a video in, but over PC. Okay, let me pull a name. Right. Barbara, are you here? Are you on? Just say here, Barbara, if you're still watching. I pulled your name. So you got to still be watching to claim your prize. So if you're not on here on the show, then we'll move on to the next one. Hey, Sam's joining us. Yeah, say sisi name. Say we're going to pull a name until whoever's still on the show wins this book. Beteru. Beteru, are you still watching? Beteru. We're not going to do the countdown. I will give you time to say, if you're here, just type here in the comments and then the book is yours. So Beteru and Barbara, are you guys here? All right, moving on. Let's go. Fa'aSamoa. Fa'aSamoa. Wait, and that's spell it, Nisi. Yeah. Fa'aSamoa Barber, are you here? Fa'aSamoa Barber. So we're doing a giveaway for the Simanu Ali'i book that was written by my aunt Aumua Simanu. So that's the giveaway that we're doing right now. So we're pulling names. So if you're still watching, just say here if I call your name. And Sam. Sam. Sam, Sam, are you still on or you just popped on? Sam, if you're watching, put the name here if you're still watching. I see your name watching, but are you typing? Go slowly, ma Sam. Right. Lela keep pulling up. You know what? Let's do this. Out of the people who's still watching, first person. Oh, Sam is here. Yeah, the book goes to Sam.
No.
Yay! Sam won the book. All right, Sam, we'll send you the book and we'll send you a, oh no, you already got a Let's Talk with Miss T-shirt on the shipping. Those of you that I'm getting shirts out to, those are going out soon. So yes, congratulations, Sam. Yeah, that is it for the giveaway. Oh, Puna, my sissy is here. Puna is watching as well. All right. So say your, read your little quote or passage from the book. Or
okay, I want to end today's discussion with our Fa'aSamoa program with Miss Teez with this proverbial expression. Ole ala ngā upu le whapea. Ngā lue whaamatua uu e peo le upu le au se papa. Ngā lue whaamatua uu e peo le upu le au mea. Ole matua uu. Ole tina e whai ma whai a onga i le whalalanga. A ole au se papa. O tina tau whaata i tai le whalalanga. O upu e vi ai, se tina fai mea mai a e a mawha popo. E fai foi se isi o lo ngafa ma le whaale lenga o mea ese ki tono se maftanga. Ia whaamalo atu, ia na whaangala ia oe le alanga upu le se whaamtalanga pela whai upu lea. Whaamalo atu I lawa fionga le whaletua, a wao e ngā lue whaamatua uu. E pei o whetalainga le au se papa. Okay? Ia manuia lava lau whafonga anga Samoa, ai mai si foi na isi foi o tatou oma, pa anga o lo o fisotai mai. Ia, fisotai mai pea le Fa'aSamoa I lunga le pokalama le Miss Teez, talk with Miss Teez. Mana ia e whaasoai tatou I le tatou anga nuu, ma le tatou Gagana Samoa. Whaftai atu foi le uso ia vasa. Ia lana whaasoa, e mese fo I le sosoani mai le tatou talanoanga I le nei aso. Ia whamani atu lava lau whaasausanga Samoa, e mese fo ia le tamaitai a tofu, Clark. Ia wa avea lava ia lau polo kalama no hawala. E so tai atu ai maua nei le au se pakwa peo.
Kau mai o le paole po kala me mo me le au old generator ye ko lua. E mai ka ngoa mai I younger generators.
O ma ua se talaluma.
Yoi.
Yeah, ma ua se talaluma. Fa mai fa leo ma fa langinga riko.
Vai.
Le vai na e a o ma toi tofu fai ngo le fala ngo. Ani basa.
Panga u fa test dam ya o due. E fa ko fa ila lo fa Samoa.
Yoi, o le si tatu tama nga le Fa'aSamoa ia. La donated lava le matoa onga ia tusi fa peni. Ia e vatu lava le pokalama le usole le afoi. Ia tofu, ia Miss Teez, ia whaftai lava le whalongolongo, ia whaftai foi le mata mai ia talusia ia. Ia o mai e whatau ia keu o le tina ia vasa.
O ka ngai mai, sorry
E
that
la advertise keu. Advertise mai keu se mau makaku.
Yeah. Porque ninguém, o malo se lá, o maca pepe com a oisi, eu é mais, vai, olha ali macala is a very affordable to rent the camp. Yeah.
Ese malama na yo o le foi. O lau taleni, o lau taleni fui eu.
E fai le team, so a ela se team.
Kalama
Le pokalama.
Kalama le foi le ANA. Le pokalama le Administration for Native American. E me fai lava na fai ia wa onga workshop e so so foi. Eu já não trabalho. Eu fai ia pokalama. Yeah. Tatala no ai foi. Ia lewa ele propôs o tofu no vingo lá na talk show le a. Ani basa.
É por um mama. Talk show.
Lo show. O a move closer mo e fa wa ala show la wala ngol venga le fa ngol Facebook.
Oi. A batu tanata e passou.
Yang empower ka ko mo for male show entertain ia government of American Samoa ele fela ko lunch break ma makaila show.
Empower.
Pasal ia keu.
E vai na facia le host e proclamar.
Ele kanga facia ele ma topic. É ma topic. Au ngofo
Very good topic.
Ang ngofo ko fale o sa may la show do my advertiser okay. If you want July 4th girls, this is your
Aulangan nele yai why screen up why in a show e o vai meia kamaka wa facile hostess i lumola ko ka va lo kwa oi se se topic.
Kosa mai nua Samoa news out topics.
Ya famalulu aku.
Malola mama na
We'll facile host. Yeah. Well, thank you both.
I have to I must go la si ai ngalenga place la ko o ka se ko. Fai la ko o ka le manga ka mo mai nge ya pisi. Alofa.
Yeah, wale.
Love you, Mom.
Alofa si koi.
Love you, Auntie.
Love you too.
Love you, Uncle Vic.
Love you all.
Bye. Bye,
Yeah,
Samoa.
bye. Bye.
War guest.
Thank you, Tofu.
Thank you, Auntie. That was very nice. I appreciate your time. I know you had a prior engagement, but I appreciate you.
Okay, are we offline now?
No, not yet. Hold on. Let me write. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining Let's Talk with Miss Teez. I hope you enjoyed this topic. I will put this on YouTube so you can go back and watch it. And then congratulations to Sam who won the giveaway for today. And thank you to my Aunt Becca for Lefutuau for sponsoring this show today. If you want information on this show today, I will be happy to post that later on my Let's Talk with Miss Teez page. Please subscribe, love, share. There's a lot of people that need to hear the message. I'm sorry if you missed it. We try to start early so we don't have to keep you out late. Yes, thank you. And I stay tuned for my next topic. With that, deuces, we're out.